Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to be making a foot powder for putting inside your socks for wearing during the day. Now what this will do for you is if you deal with athlete's foot or toenail fungus, this is going to help minimize and even cure your problems. Or if it's just maybe you've got it all at bay and you want to keep it back, this is something that you can do on a regular basis to help keep it at bay. And I'll also be sharing with you a few variations that you can use to tailor it to suit you and your needs, because it's going to depend on how sensitive your skin is and just simply what works best for you. So let's get to this recipe. So what you're going to need is some bentonite clay, and the brand that I bought last I really like, I haven't been able to find on Amazon anymore, but there's another really good brand, the one I started off with. I believe it was this Frontier brand. I will link to it below, or you can look in your local health food store. And then some arrowroot powder. You can also use tapioca starch if you prefer. This is I've been using a lot of the arrowroot powder. I use both actually for various different things. But anyway, I'll also link to this below. And some other options to consider are baking soda. You might want to have baking soda on hand. Now I've tried baking soda. It tends to burn my toes. I can't use it too much. It just seems to make my toes, it doesn't burn them, it just makes them very sensitive. And that's also why I stopped brushing with it, because I noticed it just tend to make my gums more sensitive. And so I just kind of back off on baking soda. But if you don't have a problem with baking soda, one of the ways that it works is it helps raise the pH. Because of its high pH, funguses cannot survive in that. So that's one reason why baking soda may be a good option. Now I like the bentonite clay because with the arrowroot powder or tapioca starch, because the starches, the powders, will help absorb moisture to keep your feet dry, and the bentonite clay is really great for detoxifying and just getting rid of a lot of stuff, and I found it to be very helpful. And yes, I've been battling a toenail infection for some time. I've tried so many different things, you know, both internally and externally, and I can seem to get it better. But you know, and it doesn't get worse, but I haven't been able to fully eradicate it yet. It's still an ongoing process. And yes, I do understand that toenail funguses and athlete's foot can sometimes be a sign of candida overgrowth in the gut. So that's something that you may have to deal with as well. But once you have a toenail infection, fungal infection, it is incredibly difficult to get rid of. And I've tried doing straight oregano oil on my toe for several days, weeks actually, and I found that the skin around there would get inflamed and sore from the oregano oil, and it was probably the least effective thing. Now some people find oregano oil to work very, very well for eradicating fungal infections. But what I've done here has been the most helpful thing. And so what I typically do is after I wash up, I will spray my foot down with my homemade vinegar and let it dry thoroughly. And then I'll use my powder, and I just put a pinch or two of it in my sock. So here's what we're going to do is I'm going to make a pint-sized jar. I want to fill up this jar. And then what I do is I keep this in a drawer in the bathroom, and so I take a pinch out. This is my blend here. I just take a pinch out, and then or two, and I put it in my sock. It's just on one foot that I need it. And so this will just be my backup jar. So when this gets empty, I can just fill this up. So what I want to do is I'm going to put about 50-50 of the bentonite clay and the tapioca starch, which I have right here, or the arrowroot powder. But again, tapioca starch is a good option too. So I want to, since this is 4 cups, I'm going to put in about a cup, or you know, my pint is going to hold 2 cups. So I want about a cup of each. Now you can also go 3/4 or 3 parts of the bentonite clay to 1 part of your tapioca starch or your arrowroot powder, whichever it is you choose to use. Okay, this is why I brought the bag out, because this is getting low. I'm gonna have to top off my little jar here. Okay, so that's pretty close to 50-50. It doesn't have to be any kind of exact ratio. And take the lid off this. Now, a couple options I would recommend if you want to add some essential oils. You can try the oregano oil. I'm not going to do that because I just didn't do well with the oregano oil. But if you do use the oregano oil, only put a couple of drops in there and just be very careful with it. In fact, I would say try making up a much smaller batch and try the oregano oil and see how it works for you. Make sure you're not going to be too sensitive to it. Now, it's not so much being too sensitive to it for me, it just doesn't seem to work. And but anyway, tea tree oil is definitely one of the ones I'd really recommend, and or lavender oil. So I'm going to use the tea tree oil in this blend. And I'm going to go ahead and put, because I don't have to worry about it burning, I'm going to go ahead and put a whole capful. But again, that's going to be dependent on you how much you put. You might want to stick with just a few drops. And I'm just going to do it like that, and then I'm going to shake it up really good. Okay, so now I'm going to put my funnel on there and fill up my pint-sized jar. And there you go. That's just the easiest way to blend it and have less mess. And there you go. So there's the powder all mixed up and ready to go for when I need it. And you know, when this gets emptied out, then I'll go ahead and top it off with this. That should work pretty good for you. Another thing you can try is I have a recipe on a homemade deodorant. I'll go ahead and link to it right up here. It's a deodorant powder. If you haven't seen it yet, that is also a really good option. So that one is one using baking soda and your arrowroot or tapioca starch. Or you can even use a combination and maybe do 1 part to 1 part to 1 part of the baking soda, the arrowroot powder, and the bentonite clay. And see how that works, and then whatever essential oils you want to use, and just give it a try and see if it helps you out, or if nothing else, it should help to keep your feet dry and comfortable throughout the day and prevent and stave off any kind of fungal infections that you may get. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.